Hi, today we're going to look into finding an article in just the New York Times. What you need to do is get to the Concordia Virtual Library, and that's at the libguidesconcordiashanghai.org. There are many ways to arrive at this page. I'm going to assume that you can either type this in or find it on any of the other school websites. Then what we need to do is click here and go to the high school virtual library. Once you've arrived at the high school virtual library, you need to scroll down and look for Proquest. Proquest is the database that we pay for that has the New York Times most current, and it has also the historical New York Times, but for now we're looking into finding something that was published recently. So you're going to click here and it will open up this window. And when you open up this window, you'll see that you can look for publications. And you'll click on this up here where it says publications, and then you'll be able to do a search for the publication that you're interested in. Today we're focusing on the New York Times, but it could be The Economist, it could be the Los Angeles Times, it could be any particular publication that you want to focus your research on. So after you type in New York Times and hit search, you should get results that look something like this. There are 7 different publications in this database that have the word or the phrase New York Times in it. We're interested in a current article, so we're going to click here so that we can search articles that are from the 1980s to published in the last hour. So after we've done that, we click there. It should open up into this window. And there's this beautiful little search bar down here at the bottom that allows us to search only within this particular publication. So you will not get articles from anything but the New York Times. Now, as you're searching, you can type in different phrases and you'll have different results. So the first thing that we might be looking for is information regarding the United Nations. If you type in United Nations here, you will get a lot of hits. You will get a high level of search results. What your search results will look like is something like this: 388,550 results. It's a lot of results. It's a lot more than I would want to see or sift through. So I need to continue to focus my search and change some variables in order to get a little bit better results. What I recommend is that you add quotations here where it says United Nations. At this time, as you can see from the results, the computer is searching for anything that has United or Nation within it. So it's really not focusing on the United Nations. It's looking for any time it sees the word United or any time it sees the word Nation within the text. And that's not going to get you what you want. The quotations, on the other hand, will force the computer to look for UNITEDNATION in that sequence. And so once it finds that sequence, it will bring up the results, and those numbers will be much smaller. That's this search right here, where I have 82,000 items that came up. So 82,000 is still way too many for me, for my preferences. So now I'm going to start thinking about what is it that I need to know that relates to the United Nations? What are some other keywords that I can use to help me get what I want out of the search engine? So what I thought of was climate, because it's broad enough of a term, and yet it will start to help us focus our results. So I click here, modify search, and when you do that, you should get something that looks like this, that says, okay, I'm going to look for United Nations with the quotations. I'm going to look in the published ID, which basically means I'm looking in the New York Times. And then I also want you at the same time, computer, to look for something that includes the word climate. Hit search, and these are the results that I get. 2,455, much more focused. Still could be too much for many of you, but it is a good way to start focusing. The other item that you can do to help you focus your search is this part over here. Now, the computer has decided what it considers to be relevant for you. It may have absolutely nothing to do with what you are actually looking for, because the computer isn't human and it cannot interpret. It only looks for characters. So at this time, the word climate has more than one meaning. So climate could mean, as in the case of the second article, the international climate is more favorable. This looks to be discussing something about business, whereas you may actually be interested in, say, climate change. So you can either go back and rewrite it for the phrase climate change, or you can tell it to sort by publication date. There's another way of getting the search to be more along the lines of what you want. You're looking for articles that came out in the last year, so you would ask for it to sort by what is most recent first. All of these are different variables that you can use to help get the results that you want for your search.